Let's do a quiz. How do you say this word? Did you say worth with an OR sound or worth with an ER sound? In the word worth, the letters OR say the sound, just like in the word were. So even though we have an OR spelling, there's no OR sound. We were worth it. They were saying it was worth it. This is true for many words with WOR, like the word word, work, worth, worry, etc. So that's a typical pattern in English. When the letters OR come after the letter W, we have the sound rather than the OR sound. I think picturing the word were or pairing it with those words can be very helpful. Let's try another one. I'll give you another word. Actually say the word out loud so you can test yourself, and then we'll see if you have this accent error pattern. These errors come from the fact that the way words are spelled doesn't really match the way we pronounce them. And so it's very typical. So let's try this one. Say this word. Did you say tomorrow or tomorrow? In the word tomorrow, we stress on the mar syllable, tomorrow, and that means that we don't do a clear vowel in the first syllable. So even though we have the word to, these words to, we don't say tomorrow, we say tomorrow, tomorrow. We reduce that first vowel and it's a schwa sound. So you can think about it like ta or just the letter T, tomorrow. Same thing happens in words like today, tonight, together. When the TO is unstressed, it just sounds like t rather than to. That also happens in this word, to. I don't say I'm going to the place. I say I'm going to the place, to the place. So in fluent speaking, this word to just sounds like t, or so you can think about it with a UH or just a little t. So to go, to talk, to take. That's a pretty typical reduction. These two do have the oo sound, so I have two of them too. We'll use a clear vowel. Let's try another one. We'll keep our quiz going. Again, these are typical errors that I hear from non-native speakers, usually because of how the words are spelled and because we don't always pronounce the full words in fluent speaking, and even just when we use the words in general, spelling and sounds don't really line up for English. So say this word out loud. Did you say comfortable with 4 syllables, or did you say comfortable? So this one doesn't make a lot of sense, comfortable. Even though we have the letters OR, we just basically drop that and we move the T and the R around. This is the most typical way you'll hear people say this word, comfortable, uncomfortable, a comfortable time, a comfortable couch, comfortable pants. And so if you were looking at how it's spelled, it looks like the word comfort and then able, and we don't really do comfortable. We don't really do able either. We just reduce that down to a bull, comfortable. I do have a video talking about comfortable, giving you a lot of different examples and breaking it down to help you with this one. Notice again that we have our OR and we're not saying our full OR sound. So that's a typical pattern. When the OR is unstressed, it becomes an or in this case, it drops and becomes ter. Okay, let's try another one. We'll continue our accent quiz. Say this word out loud. Even though we have the letters AR, if you said war with an R sound, that's incorrect. It's actually war with an OR sound. It's the same as the word war. So just like we had letters OR turning into the after the W, When we have letters AR after a W, they say the OR sound most typically. So the same is true for words like warm, worn, warning. I usually remember this one as we wore warm clothes to war. So these two, war and war, are the same. So we wore that to war. There was no warning for the war happening. So you can think about all of these. So this one is an exception, right? It doesn't become were. That's because it has the E at the end. So that makes the O say or, war. But all of these have the or sound. The trick is to really pair and match that or. So I wore it to war can be a helpful way to remember about this pattern. And again, you can visualize it. We have, my clothes are worn out. That's the same pronunciation as I need to warn you, it's worn out. So those two are the same as well. Okay, let's try a couple more in our quiz and then I'll turn to your questions. Welcome everyone. It's nice to see you here live this morning on Saturday. I'm always looking forward to our Saturday classes. Your questions give me great ideas for what videos to make and how to help you best. So let's try another. We'll do a phrase this time. How do you say this phrase? Did you say it will be or it'll be? In this case, we want to use it'll be rather than it will be. We contract it and will, and the T becomes a flap, and it's just like in the word middle or little. We use a flap T there and a syllabic L. It'll be, so it'll be good, it'll be okay, it'll be busy. That's how we naturally say it. It's not any kind of slang or improper English. It's just actually how we pronounce this contraction. And we rarely say the full word will. If the only time I would say that is if I were saying it will be. For example, I was trying to correct you and you said it won't be busy, and I would say it will be. If I'm just talking and using it'll in a sentence, I won't say that word will. It'll sound too stiff. It'll affect my fluency, and also it'll sound like I'm stressing that word will overly, which I only want to do if that's the important word. If I'm correcting you, for example, it will be the best class ever. It'll be a great day is the normal fluent way. Okay, let's do a couple more quiz questions and then we'll turn to your questions. Next word to pronounce. Another pattern I'd like to point out about spelling and sounds. Try this word. Say this word out loud. Did you say forgive or forgive? In this case, forgive is the correct pronunciation. Letters OR just say the sound because they're unstressed. So the stress in forgive falls on the give syllable. If we were to look at the IPA, you'd see forgive. The stress marker goes before the give syllable, which means that the letters FOR are going to be reduced. They don't say for, but rather for. Same is true in forget, forgot, forgotten, etc. When that FOR is unstressed, or information, another example, then the OR letters just say the ER sound. We also do this for the word for. If I'm saying it's for you, typically how we pronounce that in connected speech is with an rather than an or. It's for you, it's for fun, it's for Saturday. So the only time I would use the full or in for is if, number one, it's this for, like I have 4 of them, or if I'm trying to stress that again. If I'm saying, no, it's for you, if the word for gets stressed, it'll keep its or. Otherwise, it's generally pronounced with sound, for you. Yes, okay. And if you want to get more help for these kinds of reductions, check out my fluent speaking playlist here on the channel and also our Real Talk course. I go through all of these reductions and linking both in words and in phrases, so that you can sound fluent and natural and speak English the way it's meant to be spoken, with correct pronunciation and natural flowing speech. Okay, last question in our quiz. Say this word out loud. Did you say said with the A sound or said with the S sound? The correct answer is said in American English. We don't say this A sound. So even though we have words like raid and paid, and our rule and pattern is that AI typically says the A diphthong, in this word, it changes to said, the S sound, so it rhymes with words like red or head. It's just an exception to our spelling patterns. So he said, it said, she said. Same is true with says. Sounds like says. So we have the F vowel there. Even though we have the word say, when we have these forms of that verb, it changes to an S sound. So that often surprises people in the US accent, that we don't say that word doesn't follow the rules. It's pretty important because it's a typical everyday word that you're going to use, and if you say said, people may have difficulty understanding what you mean or misunderstand your words. Okay, thanks for participating in that quiz to start the class. If you have questions about these words, about pronunciation of words, fluent speaking, whatever would be most useful for you, please feel free to put those in the chat, or if you're watching later on, you can write them in the comments. I'm going to turn to your questions now. Welcome everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here this morning. Okay, we have a question about how do you use the word owe, as in I owe you $100. So let's look at how to pronounce owe. So this one's kind of a weird one. It does follow one of our spelling conventions, which is we have an E at the end that's silent. That means that the O is going to say the actual O diphthong. So same thing would happen in a word like road or code. The typical pattern for English, silent E at the end makes the O say the long version or the same way we name the letter. Same thing happens in, for example, ride. The I says I. Versus rid with no E, the I is going to say the I sound. So this says I, and this says I. So for O, that follows here. Instead of saying we have ow, like ow that hurts, as the ow diphthong. In O, we have the O diphthong. So it's actually just the O sound. The W and the E are silent. So I might rewrite this like O. Like if I said, oh, okay, that's the comment O. So I owe you $100. In that phrase, I owe you. Notice that as I link from that I, that diphthong that ends in a high front vowel, I owe, we have a little bit of a y sound for vowel-to-vowel linking. So I can break it with a glottal stop. I owe him, I owe you, but we tend to say I owe. We link it together with what's called vowel-to-vowel linking with a gliding y sound there. Yeah, that's a great question. Another one where spelling isn't 100% straightforward and it's a little confusing to know about what that W is doing there. Great. Okay, we have a question about whether I have regular classes. So we have this Saturday morning question and answer class each week. Then I do also have online courses, which you can check out on my website, speechmodification.com. Okay. We have a question about Mausoleum. Mausoleum. I'm not 100% sure about that spelling. So let's see. Bear with me as I copy down your word. Mausoleum. So I'm going to write it the way you wrote it, and I'm not the greatest at spelling, so hopefully this is the correct spelling. Mausoleum. So we have the ma, the ah vowel, so ma, Mausoleum. And I'm not actually sure if it's an S or a Z. Maybe it could do either. Mausoleum. I know the stress is on the li syllable, so our O sound is going to be an Mausoleum. And then we're going to have that vowel to vowel linking between li and Mausoleum, or mausoleum. Let's look that one up real quick. So I typically use online dictionaries, but I always keep a Merriam-Webster's handy so I can look up words. And I really think it's a great resource because you're not going to know every single word and you're not always going to remember for sure what the correct pronunciation is. So a lot of what I try to do in our classes and my videos is rewrite the words with a spelling that makes sense to your brain. But you can also learn the symbols, the IPA symbols for the dictionary, and it's going to be really helpful for you when you want to look something up. Online, you can click on it in a dictionary and it's going to say it for you, which is also really helpful. So, mausoleum. Yeah, so it's an S sound. No, S or Z. Okay, that's why I was so confused. So you did spell it correctly, thank you. And the dictionary will show it with mausoleum or mausoleum. So both of them are correct. Yeah, okay, so in that case, I guess I could have trusted myself, but I do, before I create a video with pronunciation, I do my research to try to give you, if there's more than one correct pronunciation. I do my best to be accurate here on the channel because, of course, you're turning to me as a resource for help with pronunciation, and I want to be correct. Okay. We have a question about the word Indonesia. So for Indonesia, syllable by syllable, we have Indonesia, 4 syllables. So you want the stress is on the ni syllable, so we'd have Indonesia. Indonesia. So think about it like the word in. We have an unstressed schwa, so this O says more of an sound. We have the ni, pure E sound. And then this SI says the zh sound, which I'll write here with the ZH. It's just the same as the SH sound, sh, but my voice is on zh. And then the letter A says an sound. So they traveled in Indonesia. I know you both asked about a couple other things. I'm going to be answering people's first questions first, and then if there's time, I'll come back and answer second words or second requests to make sure that I get to everyone's requests today. But hang in there, I'll come back to your words shortly. Okay. We have a question about the difference between mug, burglarize, rob, shoplift, pickpocket, and steal. So yes, those are all under the umbrella of stealing. But to mug someone usually means if someone was mugged, someone came up to them on the street and demanded money from them or demanded their wallet or their purse. That's usually how we use mugging. For burglarize, it's breaking into a home or a business to take things. To shoplift is going into a store or someplace that sells things and taking something and removing it without paying, usually like hiding it and removing it without paying. To pickpocket is, boy, with a lot of different ways to steal things. This is kind of terrible, isn't it? To pickpocket is to take something from someone without them knowing. So both of these happen to a person, but if I was mugged, the person is telling me and threatening me and taking my things away. If I'm pickpocketed, they sneak my wallet out of my pocket or something out of my bag or take my bag without me noticing. That's the point or the attempt. And then to steal is just all of these different things in general. So that's the more general category. And then these are specific ways someone could steal. Yeah, that's interesting to think about how we have all these different words for it. But there are, those are all different scenarios. So thank you. That was a nice question. Okay, and yes, Happy New Year to you as well. Nice to see everyone here. We have a question about the word puzzle. Let's look at how to pronounce puzzle. We have first syllable stress. Letter U says the sound. So it's a schwa. Letter Z's say the z sound. And then we have a syllabic L. So in the dictionary, you might see that with just an L, or you might see a little sound before it, puzzle. I'm pretty much going to just spell it the same way, except for maybe I'll put it as a puzzle, zul, put a little sound there. Basically, we want to go very quickly from the z right to the syllabic L, zul, zul. There's very little vowel sound there. So puzzle, puzzle. It was a puzzle. They solved the puzzle. Yeah, thank you. Good word. Okay, we have a question about help between woman and women. So I do have some videos for this on the channel. Basically for woman, we have letter O says the sound, like in book or could. And letter A says the schwa sound, like in an sound basically. So you can think about that as woman, very little vowel there. And then women, now my letter O says the sound, and so does my letter E. So think of this as women. So there were many women. That woman told me to do it. So yeah, for this sound, you can think about the word would. Would a woman like it? And in this one, you can think about the word did. Did the women like it? Yeah, singular and plural forms. Both of those, the spelling doesn't really match the sound, so that's a great question. A lot of people don't realize how different they sound compared to how they are spelled, because we have man and men, and there's no man in woman and there's no men in women. Yeah, very different vowel sounds there. Okay, we have a question about statue. So in the word statue, we have first syllable stress. Let's take a look at how to pronounce statue. We have first syllable stress. Letter A says the black cat vowel. And then this TU is not going to be a T sound, but rather a CH sound, with that U. So it sounds, in the dictionary, the IP is this symbol for the ch sound. And then we have just an U, and the E is silent. So it sounds like statue, with sta being stressed. She was as still as a statue. The Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom. Yeah, good request. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. We have a question about basis of articulation and general mouth posture and general American accent. So I do have a number of videos about this on the channel. Let me briefly go over it for you, and then after class, if you leave that question in a comment, I'll direct you to some more detailed resources for it. Basically, for the American accent, most of our resonance happens in the mouth, and what we want is, if this is my palate, the upper part of my mouth, these are my teeth. This is my lower mouth. My nose is up here. Basically, the tongue at rest is kind of sitting down here, and it's lax at the bottom of the jaw. So when I'm saying sounds like my lips are a little bit open, my jaws are not totally closed, but not very open. And my tongue is just relaxed. It's somewhat in the middle in terms of front to back, and it's just settling down into my jaw. For a lot of people, finding this may be a little bit difficult because the starting position in their native language may be different. One of the things I suggest is just say this word, Try to imitate that and see where your tongue is when you're saying those sounds. You can also say the ah sound, like father, ah, and feel how your tongue is sitting on the bottom, and then just close your jaw a little bit and relax your tongue. So if I say ah, and then my tongue is more relaxed. It's not pushing down versus the ah, it's pushing down more. There's more tongue tension. I'm a little more open. So if I go from ah, like not, to nut, that position is kind of what I want for my starting point for the general American. And then what we're going to have for our vowels is that is kind of here, and then we have our e and our ah. Those are kind of our extremes for the front and the back, and the more closed and the more open. And you're always kind of passing through this central position. So when I was talking before about how the tu becomes more of a t, that's because when I say I'm going to the store, ooh would require my tongue to be really high and tight, and instead I'm always kind of staying in this central place and trying to make everything, all my movements, as small as possible. So your positioning for General American is you want to have the tongue is going to be pretty relaxed. It's going to make small, precise movements, and it's going to center around that schwa position. Yeah, there's a lot more I could get into with that, but I think that's a good starting point. And I did just recently talk about this in a specific video, so I'll refer to you to that as well. For anybody who's asking a question, if I don't get to it today, do leave a comment, because I go back through after class and give you resources and more details about those types of questions. But that's a great question. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a question about splutter versus splatter. So let's take a look. Okay, let's look at how to pronounce splutter versus splatter. So there's only one difference between these two, and of course it's the letter U and the letter A. In splutter, letter U says the sound, vowel schwa. In splatter, letter A says the sound, the black cat vowel, which we typically just spell with letter A. So the positioning of these two, for the vowel, my jaw is more open, the back of my tongue is lifted, and the front of my tongue is down. So I would say, for example, that splatter, had some splatter. I'm having a more front vowel, with the back of my tongue lifted for that sound, versus some spluttering, done splutter. I have more of the schwa, which is more central. My jaw is going to be more closed. My tongue is going to be more flat and just resting in the bottom. For the rest of the sounds of the word, we have the sp blend. So watch that you don't want any kind of vowel before your S, just starting on spla. If it's difficult to do all three of those sounds, start with the last sound. Do lutter, plutter, splutter. The T's in splutter and splatter are going to be flat sounds, so they're going to sound a little bit more like light D's. And then we'll have the American sound there, splutter. So make sure you have a nice tight back R for that final sound. So splutter and splatter will be the two ways of pronouncing that. And as I said before, I think since the vowel is the difference, try to use a phrase matching two vowels together, like that, splatter, you want to hear that match, or some splutter, you want to hear that match. Because when I try to do two words where there's only a difference in the vowels, it can be hard to hear that difference, it can be hard to make that difference. But if I'm trying to say some versus that, you probably won't have as much of a challenge with those vowels, and so you can take advantage of that by matching in those two phrases. Yeah, thank you for that request. Definitely tricky because those words are very close. So welcome, nice to see everyone here. I'm going through your questions, and I will try to answer your first question first. If you have more than one, I may not get to all of your questions, but you can always leave your other words in a comment after class. I'll go through and give you resources here on the channel or cover your word in a future video. Okay, we have a question about the word succinct, incongruence, precipice, and where. So let's start with succinct, since that was your first question. I do think I have a video about this. Succinct. So succinct, there's two C's. The second one says the I, the S sound, and there's three C's. This one says the K sound. So succinct. And the first C says the K sound as well. So to be succinct, we don't really hear this K. We're gonna stop the air for it, but because I'm not gonna release it succinct because the next sound is the S sound. So when we have stop consonant like this followed by another consonant, we typically don't release them. And then the N says the NG sound. So think of the word sing, succinct, and then we have a K and a T. So he needs to be more succinct in his emails. Yeah, great. And your other words are good questions as well. If I have time, I'll come back to those after I've taken everyone's first question. I want to try to respect everyone's time who's here, and I know you're making an effort to be here, be a part of class, and ask your questions, so I hope to be able to get to everyone's questions today. Okay, we have a question about how to pronounce special. Let's look at how to pronounce special. We have first syllable stress, and letter E says the eh sound, like in red or tent. Letters CI say the SH sound. So I'll rewrite that with the letters SH, the sh sound. And then we have a very short schwa for letter A and the syllabic L here. So think about it like special. It was a very special day. I hope you have a special celebration. Special. Yeah, a little bit confusing because the vowels it's not clear what they should say. Yeah, so you can use another word with an F vowel to match, like get the special, if that's helpful for you. Yeah, good. I do have a word about special and specially and especially that might help you. You can find that here on the channel. If you're looking for one of my videos, you can always leave me a comment with your request, or you can use on my homepage, my channel page. I have a search box there where you can type in your word and YouTube will show you which videos I have for that particular word. So that's always a great resource as well. Okay, let's go back to some of your earlier questions. So we had a question about chauvinism. So let's take a look. I have to check your spelling, or your spelling is correct. I have to check my spelling by getting your help. Okay, let's look at how to pronounce chauvinism. So first syllable stress, show, kind of an unusual spelling here. The letter CH actually say the sh or SH sound in this word. So I'll rewrite it for you with letters SH. Letters AU say the O sound. This comes from the French, like they have the word chaud for hot and for cold. But in American English, we say it with the O sound, just like in show, O diphthong. So show is stressed, chauvinism, chauvi, probably in the dictionary because this is an I, they're going to show it with an I. I would say, we would say it with an or an I, just because that second syllable is reduced. It's not a clear vowel, so it doesn't matter too much if I'm using an I sound or an sound. Chauve. Again, another unstressed I sound, chauvinism. Letter S says the Z sound, z. And then we're going to have a little schwa or almost no vowel there. So Chauvinism. It would be nice if we lived in a place where chauvinism was dead. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that request, chauvinism. All right, again, I'll be turning to your second and third requests after I've covered everyone's first requests, if possible. So if I don't get to everything you've asked, please do leave that in a comment for me so I can follow up with you after class. We have a request for the word Jerusalem. So let's take a look. Let's look at how to pronounce Jerusalem. We have second syllable stress, and letter U says the oo sound. Letter J says the J sound here, Jerusalem. So letter E is unstressed, and in the dictionary they probably will show it with an I or an sound. I think most people say it with kind of an It's very short and reduced, so it shouldn't matter too much which vowel you're using there. Jeru, stress on the ru, as we said before. Jerusa, letter S says this sound. Again, this vowel is going to be reduced, unstressed. It'll be a schwa, Jerusalem. Yeah, I would say this is probably an I sound. Again, this vowel doesn't matter too much, Jerusalem, Salam. We might think of it as an M because we're kind of going right from the L to the M as much as possible. So think about it like Jerusalem. Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem. Yeah, okay, thank you. You have a lot of place names. So as I said before, follow up with me on your other requests, and I'll add those to my list, or if I have videos for them, I'll direct you to those as well. Okay, going down to some other requests. We have a question about boxer. Are you just mentioning Brazil, or are you asking about how to pronounce it? So follow up with me. It just looks enthusiastic that you're here from Brazil, so welcome. Okay, so our word is boxer. Let's look at how to pronounce boxer. We have first syllable stress, and letter O says the ah sound in box and boxer. This is typical, the most common way we spell the ah vowel in English is not with letter A, but rather with letter O. So the same thing happens in problem, job, hot, not. The only common word that has letter A that says the ah sound is father. So picturing it as an AH may be helpful for you, or just as an A. So first sound is ba. Letter X can say lots of different things in words. In the word boxer, it has the k and the s sounds. So boxer. And then letters ER just say the vowel, the sound. Just make sure you pull your tongue back and tight. So boxer, boxer. I wrote this here with SIR because we have the word sir that's spelled that way, but it's just basically the vowel. So you can think about it like sir, whatever's helpful for you to get that sound. So he was a boxer earlier in life. Yeah, good word. Thank you. Okay, we have a question about Polish and Polish. So let's take a look at the difference here. Okay, so let's look at how to pronounce Polish, as in from Poland, and polish, as in the verb to polish something. So first of all, we use a capital letter, uppercase P, for Polish. That's one clue which word we're talking about. Of course, context is always going to tell you as well. And for Polish, we have the O saying the O diphthong. So it's just like in phone or road. So you can think about it like O. It's stressed on the first syllable, po. And then we just have the I sound the ul sound, the I sound, and the sh sound. So Polish, with the po being longer and stressed and the lish being shorter. Versus Polish, this goes back to letter O. Most commonly, we say the ah sound, we spell the ah sound with letter O. That's the most common spelling for the ah sound. So we're stressed here. I'm going to rewrite that with letters AH for you. So Polish. In the IPA, you're going to see the A for the ah sound, and the rest of the word will be the same. So the only difference really is that first vowel. Spelling is no different except for the uppercase letter. You can think about using a matching word like go Polish and not Polish, ah and ah, and O to help you with that. Yeah, so that's just a good example of the spelling is not always going to tell you the pronunciation of a word, and being able to read the IPA, read your dictionary symbols, and revisualize the word with a different spelling is a really helpful way to correct pronunciation of words. Okay, great. We have a question about how to pronounce Venezuela. Yeah, I'm going to be making a video about that after class today because, of course, a lot of people are going to be talking about Venezuela and Maduro. A lot going on in the news there today. So in American English, we don't pronounce it exactly the same as you would in Venezuela because we don't speak Spanish. So our version of Venezuela, we stress Venezuela on the zue syllable. So we have letter E says in the American version. In Spanish, it would be more of an ve, but in American English, it's ve. Then the second letter E is going to be an in American English. Then, and then probably the most confusing part is how we say the zue. So in Spanish, we have s, u, and e. In English, we have a Z and a W sound and an A sound there, A diphthong. So rewriting that, it would be Venezuela. So looking at how to pronounce Venezuela, we have third syllable stress, and I would think of this zway, think of the word sway, and then just change your S to a Z sound. So you can start with the way, sway, zway. And then building this word, either say it slowly, syllable by syllable, Venezuela or Venezuela. You can start on the stress syllable, Zuela, Venezuela, Venezuela. Yes, I'll be watching what's happening in Venezuela over the coming days. Yeah, and while we're at it, okay, let's look at how to pronounce Cantankerous. So we have second syllable stress here. Cantankerous, tang is stressed, and that means our first vowel is going to be somewhat reduced, cantankerous, but in the dictionary you're going to see it with an a. What you're going to hear is that a may be a little bit changed, a little smaller, a little more closed, cantankerous. It's not going to be a full tank. We're not going to have a strong, clear vowel there, but it doesn't really change what they show in the dictionary or what you should think of. You should think of saying it as an a sound. It's just going to be raised because it's shortened, and it's when the a vowel is before an n, it tends to be a little bit nasalized and raised. So we have cantang, and then this n actually says the ng sound and not the n sound. So in the dictionary, it's not going to be an n symbol, it's going to be an ng symbol, the ng sound. That's because when we have words like tank or sank, or think, that n says an ng sound. So cantankerous. So I would rewrite that as can. And then I can write it as tank, T-A-N-K, you probably say it correctly, but tank does have the NG, so I'll write it with letters NG here to help you with that. Cantankerous. So thinking of, I shouldn't erase with my finger, cantankerous. You can think about it as a rus or us. It doesn't really matter because that R just connects those two syllables. So us. The R really is, when it's in between two unstressed syllables like that, it's not really an and an us or an and a rus. It's us. It's all connected. So yeah, he woke up in a very cantankerous mood after invading Venezuela. Okay, thank you very much. Let's take a look. Welcome everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here this morning. I really enjoy these Saturday classes because it's a great chance to connect with you. I do also want to mention that now it's 2026. Welcome, Happy New Year everyone. And we're doing a word of the day challenge here on the channel. And I'm doing it via a new channel that I've created called Pronounce English Speech Modification, so that there's a clean place for pronouncing words and sounds. It's just a new channel, but it's connected to this channel. I'm posting on our community page the videos so you can join that word of the day challenge. New word every day for January, so you can work on pronunciation. And I'm trying to focus for the first week on things that you might be saying this week because it's a new year, because it's January. Our videos are about new and January. Also, some words for going back to work. So we're going to be talking about management and strategy, some things that you're going to be using as everyone heads back to work next week after the break, those of you who had a break. So I hope you'll join that challenge and subscribe to the new channel as well. I'm still going to be doing my regular schedule here on Speech Modification channel, the Saturday classes and our Tuesday uploads, but some of my new videos for sounds and for words will be on that new channel, and I really hope you'll take part and take a look at that channel as well. I think it'll be useful for you. If you like what I'm doing here, it's the same there, just really nice, clean, structured videos and a good content organized in a way that you can find what you're looking for. Of course, you can do that here on Speech Modification, our original channel as well, and use me as a resource when you're trying to find help by coming to this class and asking questions or leaving comments on any of my videos. I'm always happy to direct you to answers to your questions. Okay, thanks for listening to that little mini commercial. Okay, we have a question about the word hello. Yeah, so this is an important word. So we typically say hello with stress on the low. Sometimes people might intentionally say hello with a little stress on the first syllable, so it's a little bit flexible in this word, but generally hello, low is stressed. The O says the O diphthong, and that means that my first letter E, hello, is going to be a little bit reduced. So you'll probably see it in the dictionary with an eh sound, but you can almost think of it as more of an sound. Hello, or hello, because it's not going to be a strong, clear vowel, unless I'm changing the stress and I'm saying hello. But the more normal way is to reduce that first vowel, hello. So we would answer the phone, hello. Really kind of short on this first syllable. I will also say that this greeting is a little less common than just saying hi. We also say how are you as a greeting. So there's a lot of different greeting words that we say. I do have a short video about greetings you can use in addition to saying hello to sound natural and to have some variety. And notice what people say around you. That's often a good way to go when you're looking to kind of blend in and use appropriate greetings. Yeah, thank you for that word. Okay. So question for practice at home to sound a little less stiff and to not stutter. So basically what I'm going to recommend for when you're practicing is the more you can speak, the better. And even just practicing things like describing what you see around you or describing what you're doing is a great way to get more fluent and to be able to think more in English, to form sentences and structure them, the more you have to speak out loud, the less uncomfortable you'll feel, and the less difficult it'll be, the less you'll see kind of that feeling you have of being stiff. And on the one hand, when you're working on pronunciation, you're being careful. Like in this class, we're breaking down words, we're talking about the sounds and trying to really be specific. But when you're trying to speak more fluently, kind of thinking about that home base of the sound and trying to stay fairly relaxed and connected is one of the most important ways to be connected. So if I'm saying like, say I'm practicing and I'm speaking aloud and I'm talking through my day, I'm saying, okay, I need to do the vacuuming, I need to go to the store, I need to cook dinner. If I'm thinking about saying each word, go to the store, that's where I'm going to really sound stiff and unnatural if I'm thinking of these as separate words. Because as we're speaking, we don't speak in words, we speak in phrases and we speak in connected sounds. So something like go to the store is going to have 4 syllables, but it's really going to be kind of, this word is going to be long and clear because it's stressed. And these 3 are going to really run together and connect to store. So rather than thinking of it as words, if I can start to practice speaking aloud how this happens naturally, I'm going to end up with something more like go to the store. So this part is probably where it's feeling stiff for you. And so looking at how phrases connect and link, focusing on the rhythm of English, that store is going to get a beat, and go to the is all going to be kind of the same length as store. Go to the store, go to the store. That's why we tend to reduce and link on the unimportant words, is that we have to keep that rhythm of, if I'm saying, I'm going to go to the store. We have going to go to the store. We have stress on going, maybe a little bit on go, and on store. So our beats are going to fall on I'm going to go to the store. That means everything that falls in between those beats needs to be the same length to keep that rhythm. So we're a stressed time language where the important and stressed words get a beat of rhythm. All of the other sounds have to fit into that beat. So I'm going to go to the store. I need to be able to reduce and link the sounds that are in between the connected sounds. It's not easy to just start doing this, but one way you can do that is kind of think about first just saying the stressed words, going, go, store, going, go, store. Then trying to fit and layer in the smaller parts in between. I'm going to go to the store, going to go to the store. So that you kind of get that rhythm overlaid, and then breaking down things like go to the, becoming go to the, a lot of that kind of practice. Just take it 1 or 2 phrases at a time, trying to incorporate that rhythm and that connected pronunciation. The videos here on my linking and reduced sounds playlist are really going to help you with that, as well as our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com. I break down those reductions and the rhythms and the linking so you can feel more natural. So I highly recommend both of those for you for working on feeling more fluent and less stiff as you're speaking. That's a great question. Thank you for bringing it up, because many people struggle with that. And we do try to look at ways to break that down and ways to practice. But I would go back to my original statement of the more you can just speak out loud, the less stiff it'll feel as you continue to do that. Okay, thank you for that question. Okay. Yes. Oh, Maduro, not Maduro. So thank you. Yes. So I did that incorrectly before. So Maduro, not Modura. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So revamping. Ignore my earlier advice on that. We have the ah, the oo, and the o. Maduro. So still going to be ma, and then der, Maduro. We will do O though in American English, with the stress on the der, Maduro. In Spanish then ma, with the pure ah sound. Dur with the ur, and then o. So we'll do o diphthong. Spanish will just do o, single sound. Thank you for that correction. Yes. Okay. So questions about assimilation for connected speech. So yes, I do have some lessons for that. You can check out my linked sounds and reduced sounds playlist, and you'll find that there as well. Okay. We have a question about, let me go back up above. We have a question about Malaysia. So we have another, just like we had in Indonesia, in Malaysia, we just have the j sound at the end. Stress on the lay syllable. Then our first syllable gets unstressed. We lose that A vowel and just becomes an So Malaysia in American English is how we pronounce this. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, I'll take a few more questions and then we'll need to wrap up for today. It's been a great hour with you here. I look forward to seeing you again next Saturday as well. And Tuesday we'll have a new quiz debuting, as well as tomorrow there's going to be a couple new videos dropping. So do check back at the community page. I've been doing a variety of different types of videos here on the channel. And as I mentioned earlier, our Word of the Day challenge is going on our second channel, Pronounce English. So check that out, join for January, and we'll have a new word for you every day. Some of the most commonly mispronounced words, some of the most practical words you need for work and home and socializing. So I hope you'll check that out. Okay. Let's see. We have a question about how to pronounce Trump. So we have the name Trump, and then it's also a verb, to trump someone, or a trump card. It's a noun as well. It has the sound, like dumb or dump, and the otherwise it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you have the TR blend at the start, trum. It's just like the word drum, or the word rump plus a T. So you can try building from that, rump, trump. You can also try just building from the start, say like tra, and then add your M, trum, trump. Yeah, that's in the news quite a bit right now because of Trump's actions, and him being the president. Okay, great. Question about phonetic course. So my online courses, I have a Sounds of English course that breaks down the sounds and accent error patterns. And it is phonetics based. So it uses IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet, just like I do here in the live class. So when I'm writing the words like this, so for sounds, for example, sounds, I'll write the IPA symbol. So we have this saying this, the ow, OU saying ow, and saying so that you can see each sound. And then I also will rewrite it like in sound. I might do ow for you, or ow. Respell it in a way that makes sense. So, for example, when we have letter S, sometimes it says S, sometimes it says Z. So that Sounds of English course walks you through each of the sound symbols and the sounds, breaks down letters versus sounds, spelling and sounds, and just helps you build a strong foundation for speaking where you can pronounce every word correctly, understand the rules and patterns of English. What we also point out in this class, in this course, online course, is the accent error patterns you may have. So based on what's in your native language, you can look and see, okay, common errors because of how a word is spelled or because of the sounds that are only in English and not in your native language, where that will break down. So it's a really useful course to build that foundation, to be confident speaking English and pronouncing everything correctly. And then I also have an American Accent 6-week course that will work you through pronunciation as well as intonation and linking, and it just gives you some step-by-step things to follow to change and improve your accent, understand beyond just the sounds of English into how to implement that for fluent speaking. And then lastly, as I was mentioning, we do have a Real Talk course that looks at fluent speaking overall. It's more advanced, and it kind of assumes you have a certain level of English American accent already and kind of takes you into that more detailed advanced help. So check those out. You can go on my website, speechmodification.com. There's a little video explaining those 3 courses, as well as I have a few additional courses as well. And all of the courses have some free preview lessons, so you can click on those, check them out, and see if they're a good match for you. Thanks for that question. I do hope to see you there in my online courses. Okay, wonderful. So nice to see so many of you here today. I'm sorry I didn't get to every word that all of you asked. If I missed yours, do come back again next Saturday, or for a quicker response, put your question in the comments for this video. I do go back through after class to the comments and send you resources from my website and from here on the channel to answer your questions. And I'll see you all tomorrow in our new video, as well as Tuesday. We'll have a new premiere for you here. And of course, every day in January on our new channel, Pronounce English, we have our Word of the Day Challenge. So subscribe over there to get notified when those videos drop every day, and work on improving your English. Wonderful class today, great questions, and so nice to see so many of you here. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Thanks everyone. Nice to see you and Happy New Year.